I'm
I
so
know that was a
excited.
lot of work.
Thank you so much. I don't know what was going
No
on. Thank you for your patience. I really appreciate
problem.
it.
I just started a new one and it worked. So
Yay! Hey everyone.
we have a few people in the room, which is good. I want you to introduce yourself, and then I can introduce myself a little bit, just so people know who you are. I'm just learning who you are.
Hey everyone. My name is Michelle Marrero, also known as Enigma's Shadow or Enigma's Craft here on Instagram. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm currently living in Costa Rica, deep in the jungle to really, get more connected with nature and really take on this healing art journey like to another level.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, when I first ran into your page, I was just like, this person's really cool. Like taking this risk, go to another country from, Atlanta. And I just thought that was kind of special, and it's scary, I think, but you did it, and I know you're probably still going through that. I don't know. Initial, I saw some of your videos where you're kind of just like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And now you're kind of like, I think it looks like you're settling into a good spot. But yeah,
Definitely.
what made you do that?
Yeah, so about 2021. So in 2021, I had an opportunity to actually 2020. In 2020, at the end of 2020, I had the opportunity to go travel. And during my travel, I ended up going to St. Thomas Virgin Islands, where I was able to work at an art museum, not art gallery. It was my first time being exposed to art in that way. I never had any interest in art or anything of that mechanism. So
Oh,
after staying at this art gallery and just really being around all of these artists and just seeing like this, just the love that people had for art, it really opened up my mind more. So on my travels back to the States, back 2021 happened, and I just kind of was like, you know what? I really want to continue this traveling thing. It really opened my mind. I wanted to figure out how could I support myself as an artist? What can I do? And I was just like, you know what? Maybe I should learn how to do art. You can't go wrong with art. Art is subjective. You can't go wrong with it. It's high earning. And it will really push me to like learn something and go after something new in my life. So the entire 2021 from February to the end of that year, I just was locked in and dedicated to learning art. And I started with the journals. So the journals was actually the first piece of artwork I had ever made.
nice.
And then from journaling, making the journals, because ideally in my mind, I was still very scared to take on art. And I was just like, you know what? I should start on something small. I should give myself, use a small canvas, something I can use, small that I can really put my ideas with, instead of like having a large canvas and like not knowing how to paint or anything like that. So I was like, let me start with something small. I ended up starting making journals, and then I think maybe 3 or 4 months into my art journaling, or not art journaling, but into my journey, I came across collage art, and like this world of junk journaling, and just like seeing these ways that people were like using their journals in art, and I just started just privately doing it in my journal, and the more when I did it, the very first time I did it, I mean, it was like a emotional, like
Uh-huh.
just a wave of emotion came after, like over me, and I just looked inside my journal after I made this piece, and I just started crying, because
Yeah.
it was very emotional. I never felt like anything like that before, and it felt very something about it. It felt kind of mystical in a sense. Like it almost felt like, wow, I'm connecting with myself, with art and journaling, and it just something about it just really helped me fuse my with my spirit. And then it started. It really brought me into art therapy, and then I started going into like intuitive painting. And then I started just to really take the entire approach to like, how can I transform my life and heal through art? Because again, I never felt this type of emotion before out of, just from something external from me like that, you know?
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
from for connecting like that, that was really powerful. And I was like, everyone needs to know this. Like, everyone needs to learn this. Like, this is
Yeah,
powerful,
that's
powerful.
cool. Yeah, I think I don't do as much journaling and things as I've seen you do, but like I barely started tapping into that as well. Like during the pandemic is like when I finally like started doing art that was more based off of my experience of hearing bad news, especially like related to police brutality, and those things were so sad and like just destructive. And so it's like I started doing pieces. I wish I kind of brought it with me, but I could have showed you. But like I started doing pieces with figures in it, but more like shadow figures, and it was my way of like processing the news, and which was weird because but that's how much bad news we were receiving. And so I started
Yeah.
using art to like process stuff rather than just make something pretty, because I've always like drawn faces and people portraits. I always loved human connection, and doing that through my art somehow. And maybe that's just because I was shy when I was younger, and I like that was my way of talking to people. But like um but then the journaling, I started doing that little bit, maybe 6 months ago, where you just free write on what you're feeling and then making art related to it or something. But yours, I've seen you do some of your pages where it looks like you must be free writing or something, and then do a collage over the top of it. And I
Yeah.
think that's pretty cool. Like, can you share like what you do with the your morning routine or journaling routine or whatever it is?
I should have brought my journal here to show you
I know,
guys.
I know. It's all
But so basically what I do is when I never liked journaling growing up. I always felt uncomfortable writing in my journals, and when people invade journals, and then I always felt this very awkwardness of just like writing out my feel. Like it just felt awkward to me. It was very uncomfortable
good.
for me. So I had to learn how to love journaling. So at some point, I did start to get into like when I was traveling, I started, really getting into journaling more, writing out my emotions. A lot of it is like for me, especially when it comes to adding the artwork, whether it's me just writing out my dreams, I do that more than anything. I really write out like, the life that I want to live, my dreams, a lot of reflection, or sometimes I use journals in a very in a very emotional way where I'm writing out, stuff in me that part of my life experience that has affected me or has affected me now. And then I like to put the artwork over the after I get done writing. I like to put the artwork over the words as just to me it's like my transmuting technique. It's a way for me to transmute whatever those feelings were or whatever this like my dreams are. It's a way for me to not it creates a detachment in a sense where it's like, okay, I'm not going to go back. I'm writing this out. I'm purging it out. I'm just getting it out of my system, my body, my mind, body, spirit. And then I'm going to
Yeah,
cover it up with something beautiful, and
that's
almost
cool.
let the artwork heal whatever the words are under there, or let the artwork take care of the, you know, whatever that dream or that manifestation is. And for me, I feel like putting those type of intentions into my journaling and in my artwork allows me to create it allows for the artwork to come alive for me because I'm putting so much energy into the words, the writing, and then it's like to also put the artwork on top of it. It's just like it's a lot of me, a lot of my soul, a lot of my spirit is just going into my book, and it's almost for me being able to then take an intuitive interpretation of what it means, after I get done doing the art journaling. I'm like, wow, like this feels even more magnifying,
Yeah.
to then evaluate what it is that you just, created over your words, definitely.
I haven't tried that method, but it seems really. I I teach classes like for art therapy. I'm not an art therapist, but I'm a recreation therapist. And I just use art because that's part of my life. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's a new one where it's like do the free writing, do whatever it is, purging. That's a good way of putting it. And then like the covering up with something beautiful, or even it doesn't have to be beautiful, but like just covering it up and making a piece of art. Like I like how you said that it's your soul and your spirit poured out. That's cool. I think that's a good way of putting it. I'm always looking for like ways to teach, and just running into you, I was like, oh, like I think she's got a good way of explaining that. And like I know you're doing like little. What are you doing in Costa Rica? Are you doing some kind of workshop or something? You can brag about yourself if you want.
Yeah, so right now, kind of to go back to my first time traveling, couple like 2 years ago. Once I kind of got into everything, and once I kind of felt confident, I was like, okay, I just made a lot of artwork. I think I'm ready to go back into the world now. Like now, I really want to, travel and introduce me to art. So maybe there might be some connection there. Maybe I should go now that I've learned the art, maybe I should go back out traveling. Maybe and now utilize my art, be more active with my art. So for me, it's really about, yeah, I would love to be able to host art retreats, being able to host healing art retreats, where people do want to heal through art, and introducing them that, and also introducing to them the concept that everyone's an artist. There's an artist in each of
Yeah,
us, that is
gotta.
deeply in us. And for me, because I never thought about art or grew up doing art, I discovered art when I was 26, just randomly traveling, and then the passion just came over me, and for me, once I got to really taste the medicine of art, and I really saw how emotionally evoking it was, and how much I was able to really connect with my every part of myself on every timeline. Like I felt like I was connected in my past self, my present self, and my future self through art journaling. I was like, I have to go and share this with the world. So a lot of me traveling right now is because of art journaling, because that is something that I really would love to share with other people, because not only do I like to decorate the inside of the books, I like to create journals. I love decorating and creating journals. And for me, being able to collect material from across the world and charms, and, I think it just adds more in it, because even with the books that I sell, my journals that I sell, I like to put a lot of energy into that, because I'm hoping that when you purchase this journal, that you in some way evoke the magic in you too, because I'm putting a lot of my energy, a lot of creativity into this, a lot of intentions into these things. So for me, it's really like my creative gift back to someone else, that hope what my hopes is that they also too will take in art journaling, and really connecting with journaling on a different level. But yeah, coming to Costa Rica, Costa Rica is just where I'm at right now. My goal is to travel throughout all of Latin America, and, pick up a lot of knowledge. Currently, I am staying at a art center right now. It's a mystic art. It's called Coma, here in Nasara, Costa Rica. And what we focus on is art, and art. Like, we're actually starting to do retreats now. So we just launched our first retreat this week, which I'm really excited about. It's everything that I wrote in my journal is now coming. It's happening. Things are happening. So it's like to be able to share this healing medicine with other people, and to gather other artists or people who are interested in art and healing through art is just so like fulfilling for me,
That's
to share
yeah,
it.
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's the same for me. I'm not doing big workshops, so I eventually want to, but yeah, I'm just starting locally with little groups, doing little wellness art clubs. We're just I teach them a little lesson, and then we do art on it, and it's always related to like getting out some of those pent up emotions, or just learning a coping skill that's gonna help your life out. So that's cool that you like stumbled on that, and then you're like adding to it and making it really cool. I think journaling. I haven't looked at such cool journals like pasting stuff on it. Like your journals are pretty awesome. And so I'm just like, oh man, if I had a journal, I hope it looked like that. So that's cool. I'll have to
Thank
show
you.
people. Yeah, and I was just impressed by you. The things you're putting out, and you got a lot of good quotes and things that you say in your videos. And I think one of them was, I don't know, like let's see, you mentioned the importance of tapping into what your spirit wants to share and aligning with that with your Most High wants you to create. That was one of your quotes from a
So
video. And
I'm in
so
the
I can
jungle. Our electricity just went out, so I mean, I hope you.
we'll see how
This
the internet lasts.
is the jungle living, but I think we should continue the.
Yeah. And so you said that, it helps you connect with your Most High. Can you share some practical ways or practices that you personally use to be more intuitive? I know you already kind of gave them, but like, how do you like get into that good headspace or whatever?
Yeah, for me, really is nature, 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 nature. Which is how when I first started journaling, it was very important for me to find a space where I felt like I could be raw, And when I was in high school, in 11th grade, my English teacher, who actually introduced me into journaling, my art teacher, I mean, not my art teacher, my 11th grade English teacher, she was very passionate about journaling and very, very passionate about us connecting in nature. And that was actually where I created my first art journal. That's where we actually had a high school project where we had to create a journal,
Okay.
and when I think about it now, I'm like, wow, that in some ways those were like little breadcrumbs leading me up to like where I'm at now. But I took that approach. I never forget that, her really emphasizing us going into nature, and so yeah, I started going into nature a lot, and just like every single day I would just go out into like my local preserves or find a nice, just like serene place and just write and really connect. For me, I'm not really into doing a lot of props and tools. You have people, and there's no offense to anybody, we have people who they may need to do like ritual things or need crystals or these things that they
Yeah.
use all of these external stuff to connect with their spirit. But for me, it's just like taking a more authentic and organic approach, which is just going outside, breathing in the fresh air, maybe talk to the trees even if it sounds a little wonky, but really spending
Yeah.
those time being consistent with it and being intentional. And yeah, going in there without any music, really just enjoying the silence. And the more I did that, the more I really just started connecting with myself, and I really started connecting with the powers of the elements that are already around us that are extremely powerful.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I need to do that more. Get out in nature. That's a good point. I live so close to like really beautiful places. Like Yosemite's just like 2 hours, 3 hours away from where we are.
Where you
But
guys
the place
located?
we live in, it's Merced. It's Merced, California. It's really not like a great. It's a good town, but it's like struggling. It's Central Valley, but we're like located to like a lot of beautiful pieces of nature. But yeah, just getting myself out there is always the challenge. But but yeah, you seem like you're almost like in nature right now, probably at that retreat or at the Mystic Art
Yeah,
Center. So
yeah, I'm volunteering here. I'm actually here for a tattoo apprenticeships to
oh cool.
learn to tattoo. Because even with that, everything for me is just taking a very healing approach. Because even with the tattoo, is about taking it even that another approach where it's like being more ceremonial with things, and yeah, being able to create healing designs that I feel like will help energetically heal people. And and to really be in a, you know, not just going into tattoo shop, hey, I want to get that. No, but like, let's really sit down. Let's talk about some things, like things that you might be going through. Let's work on an art piece that can almost reflect that, or you know, and you know, inscribing it on the skin, you know, not just taking a wonky approach to it, but
Yeah.
really taking a healing approach, going back into the healing arts, and knowing like the more, and traveling has just taught me about like learning, especially in the jungle, you know, where a lot of indigenous tribes and stuff, you know, we see a lot of their markings and tattoos and stuff like that. And the stick and poke tattoos, and you know, those things are really ceremonial. You know, those
Right.
aren't just, they're not just creating anything. They're being very intentional about what they're placing on your body, transforming that energy. So for me, yeah, that is part of, you know, a service that I'm learning, an art service that I'm learning right now, so that I can provide that healing space for others, you know.
Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah, especially like when it's your skin, it's like you're gonna carry that with you forever.
Yeah.
And so it's like make sure it has some deeper meaning. And so I
Right.
like that. Where I have that same like desire you do, and I think a lot of artists have the same thing where they're just like, well, maybe not everybody, but like you just want to help people through your art and like and give them a piece of that and like and know that it can change their life in a good way. If they practice it, and like that's something I teach as a therapist. It's like you become what you practice, and so um, you know, as you are tattooing people and like connecting and like how can we share your life story in a tattoo? That's like a challenge in and of itself. But like, so that's a cool artist challenge for anybody. Is just like you know how I don't know. It's pretty cool. I don't have any tattoos, but it's like I want to. Sometimes I think about it. I'm like, oh, I can never think of a symbol. You know, something I would want, but I do love
Yeah.
the yin yang symbol because of the you
Yeah.
know chaos and order and the meaning behind it. And there's always order and chaos, and there's always chaos and order, and so that helps me remember that life is gonna throw me a curveball like every single day and stuff like that. So I like symbols like that, and but I don't know. It's probably my own interpretation of that symbol. It's probably means something else, but it's kind
No,
of fun.
definitely. I definitely connect with that symbol too. I mean, and on my journals, one of the journals that I make. I mean, my personal journal that I write with now that I'm traveling has those symbols on it, you know, for a reason. Because for me, it is about balance and really being able to experience duality without being biased. I think a lot of time we go on one side and we're just so stuck on this one side. Like, yeah, you just gotta be, you know, like, yeah, just somebody that's chaotic. They just love fucking chaos. I'm sorry for cursing. I apologize. But you know, but yeah, but in some case you do need order, you know, and that's uncomfortable for people. And then you have people that do just like order, but chaos is just it's too much for them. And it's just like, but when you really learn to balance the yin and the yang, you know,
Yeah,
life becomes breezy. Everything just flows. You're in sync, you know. So I
yeah.
really love it a
I
lot.
think it reminds me that like when there is something that goes wrong in the day, it's a good reminder like it's gonna be fine. Like a lot of anxiety, and I don't have anxiety, but like a lot of anxiety and things like that is just one bad thing happens and the whole day's ruined. It's like, no, that's just part of your life. Like there will be chaos today. There will be order today. Like it's interesting. But you just gotta wait around for it. Even in this video before we started, it's like, oh, this is slightly chaotic first time, you know. It was just fine, and I was just like, I didn't get frustrated or nothing, and so like as you get older, I guess you get smarter with those things. But I don't know. I'm getting too old. Um, but yeah. Do you have any
Ask a question.
questions?
Yeah, I was just about to ask and ask you a question. So as far as you guys like
Yeah.
wellness center, or like what do you guys work with patients that are looking to be healed? I mean, I know you say you're not an art therapist, you know. I'm very cautious about that too because I'm not an art therapist, but I do push art
Yeah.
therapy, you know, and there is a lot of like talk about like, oh, you know, to be an art therapist you have to be certified, you shouldn't be, you know. So it's like, do you guys take in like I don't know, like, yeah, rehabilitation, like people who are rehabilitating, or like,
I
what
try.
do you guys?
Right now it's new. I am a recreation therapist working in mental health, but I usually don't invite my patients unless they show like a really great love for art, just because having a relationship outside of the workplace is slightly sketchy. But I tell them, hey, this club's available. You should look it up. That's as far as I go with it. So I usually don't get my own people that I've already worked with, but I've opened it up to the community, and I just call it, if you have any mental health challenges. I don't really say if you have depression or anxiety or anything like that, but it's just like if you feel like you're struggling and you want to learn some skills, like through art, then please, show up. And the first, little while, it's been a good half year, and the first 3 or 4 months nobody showed up, like, and so that was just kind of like, okay, do I keep showing up for this even though nobody else is? um and I kept going, but finally, like last week, we got 10 people showed up, and I do it for free right now, but like eventually it's hopefully a nonprofit where I can start paying whoever the instructor is a couple $100 each time, but like that's someday. And the thing I've seen in United States and probably elsewhere is just like mental health is only treated for when you are about to hurt yourself or other people, and that's the only time it's an emergency and you're about to do something drastic. And so that's totally a broken system to treat mental health that way. And so my idea was like, hey, if we can get enough people in communities creating something to care for people that want help, then we won't need all these emergency facilities, like where you basically are kind of treated like you're in jail, to get you to take your medicine and stuff like that. And that's pretty a sad situation. So I still work in it. I believe in it in some ways. Yeah, it does save people's lives and it does help, but there's a lot to be like desired. And so most of what I've been saying for so long is like, man, we need to move this to the community, bring it to the community. And so I was like, well, walk the talk, talk the,
Right,
do what you're gonna.
right, right.
So I'm finally like, okay, I'll do it, and so it's sacrifice, but because right now it's free and stuff like that, but eventually it'll be good. And now I'm trying to like connect with other artists like you and anybody else that I might be able to, that I kind of identify with, and be like, hey, like, what are you doing that's working for you? And it doesn't mean you have everything in line and that your life's perfect. No, no one's life is perfect. We're all learning and we're all growing, and we're trying to figure out what we believe in. And I'm just way more open than I used to be, I think, before the pandemic. And I'm noticed a lot more people that are super closed off, and I'm like, that's not me. I'm not going to close off because of and I'm not going to adopt stupid ideas because that's what everybody else is doing. I don't know. And so it's just like it kind of opened the door to be like, hey man, like you only have one life to live. Like do what you want to do with it. Like
YOLO.
be be that motivator. Be the person that you wish existed in the world, and kind of like. And I'm not perfect, but like those are what's kind of inspired me. Yeah. So
And what kind of like art, like workshops or techniques that you guys use at the center? What do you guys focus on as far as like what type of activities when it comes to art?
for me, it's a lot like teaching people how to express their emotions through art, and then like maybe some processes that I found. But one I like to do is like you tape a big piece of paper on the wall, like cover the wall with a big piece of butcher paper, and just give people crayons, like children's crayons, because last time they probably touched them, they were a kid. Um, and so like just tell them, hey, we're just gonna scribble, and we're gonna do big movements of if you're feeling angry, make an angry movement, like ugh. And if you're feeling peaceful, like do something nice and peaceful. And I might actually say words out loud like um, anger, happiness. I might change the tone and have them draw lines accordingly, just so they can remember like, oh yeah, this movement is like that. They can change colors based off of it. And so they basically, I tell them to go it until they fill the whole butcher thing up with scribbles, and then we switch over to watercolor next, and then I just have them, hey, like pick colors that you're jiving with, and fill in all the space that you just made with all the lines that you just made fill it up. And then that takes a good 20 minutes. And then the last part is get white or black acrylic and then have them just put little embellishments or symbols over the top and kind of wrap up the painting and stuff. And that's like the first time most people would have just done explored or like expressive art. And that's, I guess, what it's called. And so like expressing emotions for the first time on a piece of paper, if they tried, some people will just do their own thing anyways, but if they listened and did it kind of opens the door to be like, hey, art doesn't need to be like perfect, and you are an artist no matter what. Like, as long as you're making marks on a paper, you're doing art. And so it's like, it's not always about like looking like the Mona Lisa or whatever. It's like, so that's a good one to introduce people to, like, if they're fearful of art.
Yeah.
Is just to be like, hey, we're gonna make a mess. We're gonna act like kids right now, and you gotta let it go. Like, it's a big thing for adults. Most adults are scared of art if they're
They
not
are.
artists.
And that's the whole concept for me. It's just like, for me, yeah, I could teach children art, I guess. Children are naturally very creative, or expressing their creativity. So a lot of my approach is about taking the adults and bringing the adult into the forefront.
Yeah.
Like, wait, you are a child too. Your inner child. And for me, I realized that because before I started doing art 2 years ago, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I felt very out of place with society as far as career wise. I had no interest in anything. I didn't want to be a nurse, no lawyer. I didn't want to be. I just didn't want to do anything. So I was just like, where do I fit in this world? What is me? So it was like, once I realized like art, I was just like, wow, this is for me. And then I was like, this is for everyone. Art is for everyone. And for me, it's like also too just encouraging people that like, yeah, maybe if you don't know what you want to do in life, or maybe you haven't found that thing yet, it could be art, because it was for me. Art was the thing in my life that I didn't know that I really needed, or that was going to be the thing that helped me get in alignment with a career or passion. So, encouraging people to just go through that, to just, be open to knowing that there is an artist in you. And you never know that by unlocking this, you might be setting yourself up for a career path, that you never thought. I never thought I'd be wanting to be I want to do art in always. I would love to, I haven't taught a workshop or did classes yet. So, I mean, this being in this position is really helping me, I'm taking those baby steps so that I can be able to have my own art community center and really get people in it. And I would love to be able to take care of the funds and art, and art supplies. Like that would be my, gift, but it's just like, really encouraging people to really step outside of their comfort zone and really push the limits with colors and just like really tapping into something that can really transform their lives, because it definitely has been transformative. I mean, it brought me into a whole nother country. It's brought me into traveling. Just even sitting down for a year and just focusing on learning art. And I learned all arts, I just took every month I would learn a new medium. Every month for 12 months I will learn a new medium. And and in those moments it didn't feel like anything until at the end of the year I got invited to do my first gallery, and it was in that moment where I realized, I was like, wow, like I didn't realize how much artwork I made over, a course of a year of just learning. I have enough artwork to, set up a gallery. Like, it was just like in that hindsight moment, I was like, wow, like I have a collection like of artwork, so it feels really, really good. And I just want everyone to like just feel this, because once you feel it, when you really invite art into your life, as an artist, being an artist, not just being an art enthusiast or just looking at art, but when you accept it into your life, it can work miracles, it can really work miracles.
It opens another avenue of talking and communicating, which a lot of people do have a struggle with. So, yeah, ideally it'd be nice to like teach men how to do this more because you know how men don't talk much, but like it would be just cool, like, but not, you know, I don't know. It's just I tried many different things at work, and but yeah, I think what you're doing is just that journaling and you know the expressive arts and teaching people about how to get in touch with their inner spirit and or the higher power, whatever it may be, like those are all skills that people need and that you are learning about and you possess some of those things and you're still going to keep learning more about it. And so like that's cool about art is like you can never stop learning art. Sorry, what?
Could never stop learning about art, and I even I dropped out of college, but I told myself, I mean, this art has, I'm an outsider artist, so I learned art in a very non-traditional way. I didn't learn it, I didn't learn how to draw growing up, or I don't have a favorite artist per se, I didn't study art, but definitely taking this route has expanded me as a student and as a learner. So for me, now my goal is to go to art school. I would love to enroll back into college and really take the art to another level and really learn the techniques and the history. And, I've become so deeply passionate about this topic, of interest that yeah, it made me want to go re-educate myself and really like do things that I never thought that I could do because I never thought I was good in school. I never thought I would be good in business. I never thought I'd be a good teacher. So it's like art is really challenging me, to really push forward so that I can, become whoever it is that I'm supposed to be in life. My purpose.
Exactly. Well, I'm rooting for
Yeah.
you. I don't know much about you, but I met you on there and I was like, oh, she seems so cool. And like, thanks for actually interviewing me and or with me. And yeah, for my information for my wellness art club, there is a wellnessartclub.org, which is a website, or my Instagram's wellness art club. You know, it's easy to find. So if you want to go do that and join, let me know. And then it's free actually, but right now I'm just building up a following, and then we'll see what happens from there. And I think you're doing the same thing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so just keep do things that are scary. Like I've never interviewed anybody before. Like I think this went pretty well, and it's nice to meet you. But yeah, if you need any-
Because I was like, oh my gosh, this is such like these are the things that make me feel aligned even more with what it is, to even have somebody reach out to do an interview about something like that, and knowing that you guys have that you have a wellness program around art, I'm
yeah,
just like, wow, this is aligned. These are the things that I
yeah,
wanted to experience, through art
cool.
journal. I wanted to be interviewed through. I never thought nobody would care about my art journal.
I'm a nerd. What do you think? Yeah. No, there's people out there looking for it, and I think it has a lot of meaning. And learning, even just figuring out how you do your journals and how to teach someone how to do that. Like that's gonna be you can write a book on that. You know, like you can start taking photos of your stuff and being like, okay, well this is how I did this page today, and like or do a TikTok. I don't know. Don't give away all your stuff, but like it's like a really smart like process, and I think people are hungry for it. Like this world's falling apart, and so they need something to look forward to. And so that can be art journaling, that can be just being creative, or you can start doing your tattoo stuff once you figure out how to tell that story about, hey, I want to do tattoos that like have deeper meaning than just a cartoon character or something like, or whatever it is. Um, yeah, just teaching people like this is my tattoo process, and which I saw a few videos and those were good. And so it's like you're doing the right things, and I know it's probably a struggle. I mean, I saw those beginning videos, and I was like, "Go, girl!" Like,
I was like, once my post went viral, I was like, oh my god, let me go delete all of these other ones that I posted in the
yeah,
past. And
no,
I
it's
was so
all right.
embarrassed about
You were
it.
struggling. You can even talk about that. Like, hey, if you guys watch my earlier videos, like I was struggling with some stuff, and but now things are happening. You know, I can see that. But that's life. As you keep moving forward, you know, keep pushing towards your goals and dreams. Like you're gonna get them, and even though it's sometimes hard to figure out. I feel like that at this point. It's like, man, I wish I started this crap 20 years ago. Like, and so you're younger and you're doing it, and so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, if you ever need anything, mentorship, or I don't know, if you have questions, let me know. I don't. Someday I hope my wellness art club is bigger than it is, and that I can hire people and like just all over the world. But like eventually, also I want the wellness club if I can figure out how to teach it. It's just like you can start one anywhere, and like I'll provide resources for you guys, and it'd just be like a fee to like be a part of the club, which will be a small fee, and just so we can cover costs and stuff. But like eventually, that's the goal. Is like, hey man, why can't there be a wellness art club everywhere, like around the world? So, but
Yeah,
yeah, anyway.
definitely. I love that idea, and I think you are gonna prosper with the art, wellness, and I think a lot right now too, in the climate that we're living in, the age that we're living in. I feel like art is really going to go into a whole nother level, like, in these next decades or so. I mean, just seeing the transformation just from like AI and just like people are opting out of like just the norm living and living within this bubble of like I gotta do this and do that, but I think social media has really helped a lot. Social media plus COVID has really helped people like take on just new challenges and expressing themselves and being creative. And so for me, and I feel like it was no surprise that I came into my artistry during like after COVID. I really think that art is going to be the next shift that all of us experience, and we realize that we have been missing all along.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's cool.
I just
That's
think
cool.
like
I like it.
it's
Well, I don't know. Is there any last thoughts, or where's that? I mean, those were pretty good last thoughts already, but
No, I mean, I honestly just thank you so much for this interview. I hope that one day, once I'm back into the States, I come visit you guys. I'm a nomad. I travel. So,
yeah,
that's what I do is just travel around and, meet people and try to create art. So hopefully one day I make my way out to California and then, be able to do some workshops, maybe do some art journaling classes. I've loads and loads and loads of magazines that I just would
I know
love
you
to
got
get.
some good ones.
I
Where'd you get
will.
those?
I got
Nice.
hundreds of magazines, and I got some like online for like $15 at one point. I was like, man, I was like, this is too much magazines for me to do. Like, I need to do a class and like share this stuff,
Yeah,
share these magazines with people. So yeah, hopefully
yeah. I
we
think
can
people pay for
work.
that experience. Workshops
You
are
so
great because if you can get like 10 people paying you even $40, that's $400. Like, I mean, you can charge way more than that, but like just for like a 1 day a little workshop, and they walk away with a journal and like a collage cover page or something like that's a good experience. And if you walk them through it, like I know it's a little different, probably where you're at, but I'm not sure. Like, uh, I don't know how it all works there, but I've never traveled as much as you, so I'm like I'm kind of a nerd with.
I would definitely easier in the States. It's
Yeah.
definitely a
So once you get,
than being in the jungle doing
yeah,
it.
or you're learning right now. This is your college. Like this is an education. I think that's a good way to look at it, and don't look down on yourself for not doing that. If you want to do it, you do it. But like if not, you're doing your own path right now, which is like educational. I mean, traditionally, everybody back in the day, like they read books and they experienced life, and they were super educated and smart. Like, and so you know, keep on that direction. You'll be good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great interview. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, let's just keep in contact and just like support each other. And I'll definitely support you guys' community. And yeah, just get the word out about art.